Good morning, students. So, yesterday we began with the chapter The Turning Point. Now, we read that Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam was greatly influenced and inspired by his teacher, Sri Siva Subramania Iyer, who taught him in class 5. And we also read that the teacher taught them the principles of flight in the classroom, but none of the students were able to understand it. Now let's read further to find out how he made the students understand the principles of flight. But before we begin reading, I would like to tell you that we will be continuing with guided reading, and I am also very sorry to inform you that I am not at all happy with the audios that I received yesterday. There were many flaws in your reading, and I want you all to be very attentive now and repeat after me as I read. Okay, so let's begin then. He wanted us to understand the principles of flight. So he said that he would take all of us to the seashore. That evening, the whole class was on the beach. He drew our attention to the seagulls flying in formation. There were about 20 of them. So who is he here? He here is Sri Siva Subramania Iyer, and he knew that the children didn't understand the principles of flight. So he took all the children to the beach and showed them seagulls. Now, what are seagulls? Seagulls are the birds that live near the sea. Now the birds were flying in formation. Formation, what is the meaning of formation? Formation means that in a set pattern. So as you can see in the picture here, that these birds, they are flying in a set formation, in a set pattern, in a form of a V. So he showed that to the students that the birds, the seagulls, they were flying in the sky and they were flying in a formation. So let's see what happened next. It was a marvelous formation of birds with a purpose. And we were all amazed as we began to recall what we had heard that morning. The teacher then asked us to look at the birds' wings, how they flapped to generate lift. He asked us to look at the tail and the combination of flapping wings and twisting tail. We looked closely and found that the birds in that position could fly in the direction they wanted to. Then he asked us a question. Can you tell me where the bird's engine is and how it is powered? So the children were amazed to see the birds. They were flying in a marvelous formation. Now, what is the meaning of marvelous? Marvelous means wonderful. So all the birds, they were flying in a wonderful formation. Now all the students began to remember what Mr. Subramania Iyer taught them in the class. He asked them to look at the birds' wings and how they flapped. Flapped here means to the movement of wings, the up and down movement of the wings, and how the birds flap their wings to generate lift. Generate means to begin, lift. Lift here means the flight of the bird. Then the teacher asked them to have a close look at the flapping wings and twisting tails of the bird, and which made the students realize that the tail helped the birds to change direction and to let them fly in any direction. So now Mr. Subramania asked the students that where was the bird's engine and how it got power. So let's read further. We knew the answer to that question. All the aspects of the principles of flight became clear to us within the next 15 minutes. We understood clearly the dynamics of a bird's flight with the practical example of it in front of our eyes. Our teacher was the greatest. He had given us a lesson in theory as well as in practice. This is real teaching and learning, I thought to myself. So now the students knew answer to the question asked by Mr. Subramania. They knew this. Why do they know this? Because they now understood all the dynamics. Dynamics here means the scientific laws that are involved in the movement of the body, or here you can say that are involved in the flight of the bird. So now the students, they understand all the dynamics of a bird's flight, and that's why they knew the answer to the question that was asked by Mr. Subramania Iyer. So why do you think that now the students understand the principles of a flight of the bird, and why didn't they understand it earlier? Because now the students had seen the practical of the bird's flight. So this trip to the seashore with the teacher really helped the students as they got to see whatever they have studied or read in the class, or whatever the teacher has explained them in the class. Everything, all of it, they had seen in practical on the seashore, and it helped the students in better understanding of the concept of how a bird takes its flight, or how the birds fly. So that's it for today. Students, I want you all to watch the video twice and practice reading with correct pauses and pronunciation. And when you are absolutely sure that you are reading correctly, then record an audio, and the timings to submit the audio will be the same, that is 12 to 12:30. Thank you.